Picture this. Japan, 1645. A dying warrior sits alone in a cave, his hands trembling with weakness. These are the same hands that once wielded two swords simultaneously, the same hands that ended over 60 duels without a single defeat. Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest samurai who ever lived, knows he has only days left. But instead of reflecting on his victories, he's writing something that would outlive him by centuries. 21 simple rules. 21 precepts that could transform how you face every challenge in your modern life. You're about to discover what this legendary swordsman wrote in his final week, and why it might be exactly what you need to stop feeling anxious, stop seeking validation, and finally become truly unshakable. But I'm warning you right now, once you understand this philosophy, you won't be able to see the world the same way again. Let me ask you something. How many times this week have you checked your phone to see if someone liked your post? How many times have you said yes when you really wanted to say no? How many times have you felt that knot in your stomach because you're worried about what others think of you? That anxiety you feel, that constant need for approval, that fear of being alone with your own thoughts, Musashi understood all of it. 400 years ago, facing death itself, he distilled everything he'd learned into a philosophy called Dokkōdō, which translates to the way of walking alone, or the path of aloneness. And before you think this is about becoming some kind of hermit who avoids people, let me stop you right there. This philosophy is about something far more powerful. It's about emotional independence. It's about being so solid in who you are that external storms can't knock you down. It's about freedom. But before we dive deep into these life-changing principles, I need you to do something for me. Subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the content that could genuinely change your perspective. And trust me, what's coming next is going to challenge everything you think you know about strength and happiness. Now, back to our story. Who was Miyamoto Musashi, and why should you care what a samurai from 4 centuries ago has to say about your life today? Here's the thing. Musashi wasn't born into privilege. Historical records suggest he was adopted, possibly orphaned, and may have grown up with challenges that would have broken most people. But at 13 years old, yes, 13, he fought his first duel. His opponent was a seasoned warrior named Arima Kihei, who made the fatal mistake of underestimating the young Musashi. The teenager defeated and killed him. That was just the beginning. By the time Musashi was in his 20s, he had become a force of nature. He traveled across Japan during the Musha Shugyo, a warrior pilgrimage where samurai tested their skills against the deadliest opponents they could find. And here's what makes Musashi legendary. He fought over 60 duels. Some sources say 61, others say 62. But here's the crucial part. He never lost a single one, not one. Think about that for a moment. Every single time Musashi stepped into a duel, he was literally gambling with his life. One mistake, one moment of hesitation, one wrong move, and he'd be dead. Yet he kept winning. But here's where the story gets really interesting. The more Musashi won, the more he realized something profound. The real enemy wasn't the samurai standing in front of him with a sword. The real battle was happening inside his own mind. It was against his own fears, his own ego, his own attachments, his own desire for glory and recognition. He understood that true mastery wasn't about defeating others. It was about mastering yourself. And that realization changed everything. Musashi also became accomplished in other arts. He painted, he sculpted, he wrote. Some historians compare him to Leonardo da Vinci because of how he explored multiple domains of knowledge. He wasn't just a one-dimensional warrior. He was a complete human being pursuing excellence in everything he touched. Then in his final years, knowing death was approaching, possibly from stomach cancer as some historians suggest, Musashi retreated to a cave. He had already written his famous Book of 5 Rings, a detailed guide on strategy and combat. But the Dokkōdō was different. This was his final gift to the world. 21 precepts written just 1 week before he died and given to his most trusted disciple. These weren't instructions for other samurai. They were principles for living a life of complete freedom, regardless of your circumstances. Let's get into the precepts that can genuinely transform your life, starting with the ones that will probably make you uncomfortable because they go against everything modern society tells you. Precept number 1. Accept everything just the way it is. Now hold on before you think this means becoming passive or giving up on your goals. This is actually one of the most powerful concepts in the entire philosophy. What Musashi is telling you is this: stop fighting reality. Stop wishing things were different. Stop wasting your precious mental energy on what you cannot change. Think about all the stress you carry. How much of it comes from resisting what already is? You're stressed about your past mistakes. You can't change them. You're stressed about what someone said about you. You can't control their thoughts. You're stressed about losing something. Loss is inevitable. Musashi lived during Japan's Warring States period, a time of constant violence and uncertainty. He watched empires fall, saw friends die, experienced the chaos of war. He could have spent his entire life angry about the unfairness of it all. Instead, he chose acceptance. And acceptance doesn't mean approval. It means you acknowledge reality without emotional resistance, which frees up all that energy you were wasting on denial so you can actually do something productive. When you truly accept your current situation, your past, your limitations, you can finally move forward. This connects directly to Stoic philosophy. The Stoics taught the same principle: focus only on what you can control. Everything else? Let it go. Precept number 2. Do not seek pleasure for its own sake. Here's where Musashi predicted the exact problem destroying people in 2026. We live in an age of instant gratification. Netflix binges, junk food delivered to your door in minutes, social media dopamine hits, online shopping that arrives the next day. Our entire economy is built on giving you pleasure right now. And what has this created? A generation of people who are anxious, depressed, and completely dependent on external stimulation to feel okay. Musashi saw this trap 400 years ago. When you chase pleasure for pleasure's sake, you become a slave. You become dependent on circumstances outside your control to feel good. And when those circumstances change, and they always do, you suffer. But here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop desperately seeking pleasure, when you stop being controlled by your desires, you actually become happier. Because your happiness is no longer dependent on getting that next hit of dopamine. You develop internal strength, internal peace that nobody can take away from you. This doesn't mean you can't enjoy things. It means you don't need them. There's a massive difference. One is freedom, the other is slavery. Precept number 3. Do not, under any circumstances, depend on a partial feeling. What does this mean in plain English? Don't let your emotions control your decisions. Don't be guided by temporary feelings that will change tomorrow. Musashi was a warrior. In battle, if you let fear control you, you die. If you let anger control you, you die. If you let overconfidence control you, you die. The samurai who survived were the ones who could think clearly regardless of what they were feeling. Now you're probably not in life or death sword fights, although honestly, modern life sometimes feels like it. But this principle is just as relevant today. How many bad decisions have you made because you were angry? How many opportunities have you missed because you were afraid? How many times have you said something you regretted because you were feeling emotional? In his book Thinking Fast and Slow, psychologist Daniel Kahneman describes 2 systems of thinking. System 1 is fast, emotional, impulsive. System 2 is slow, rational, logical. Most people live entirely in System 1, reacting emotionally to everything. Musashi is telling you to engage System 2, to pause, to think, to make decisions based on clarity rather than temporary feelings. This is what separates people who are unshakable from people who get tossed around by every emotional wave that hits them. Precept number 4. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. This is about ego, or rather, the lack of it. Musashi is saying, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't think you're the center of the universe. Don't get caught up in your own drama and importance. We live in the age of personal branding, influencer culture, everyone trying to be the main character of their own movie. But here's the truth. You're not that important, and that's actually liberating. When you think lightly of yourself, you stop being paralyzed by fear of failure. You stop being crushed by criticism. You stop needing constant validation because you've put your ego in its proper place. At the same time, think deeply of the world. Be curious, be humble. Recognize that there's so much you don't know. Stay a student of life. Musashi was the greatest swordsman alive, yet he continued learning, exploring other arts, studying, growing. He never thought he had it all figured out. That humility kept him sharp. That humility kept him alive. How many people do you know who stopped growing because they thought they already knew everything? Don't be that person. Precept number 5. Do not seek to possess either goods or fiefs for your old age. Translated to modern terms, don't hoard possessions. Don't build your entire life around accumulating stuff for some imaginary future. Musashi was a wandering ronin, a masterless samurai. He carried only what he needed: 2 swords, simple clothing, the bare essentials. He could have sought wealth, position, land. He was famous enough, but he chose freedom instead. And here's what's fascinating. This precept speaks directly to our modern problem of consumerism. How much of your life is spent acquiring things you don't need to impress people you don't like? How much stress comes from maintaining, protecting, organizing all your possessions? How much debt have you accumulated buying things that gave you pleasure for maybe a week before you forgot about them? Musashi understood that the more you own, the more you're owned. Every possession is a chain. Every unnecessary thing you accumulate weighs you down. This doesn't mean live like a beggar. It means distinguish between needs and wants. It means have control over your purchases instead of being controlled by them. Here's a practical application. Before you buy anything non-essential, wait 48 hours. If after 2 days you still want it and can genuinely afford it, fine. But you'll be amazed at how many impulsive purchases you avoid. That's money saved, clutter avoided, and freedom gained. Precept number 6. Do not regret what you have done. This one is absolutely crucial. Regret is one of the most poisonous emotions you can carry. It keeps you trapped in the past, replaying mistakes you cannot change, torturing yourself over decisions you've already made. Musashi killed his first man at 13. He fought in brutal wars. He defeated opponents who had families. Do you think he did all that without making mistakes? Without doing things he wished he could take back? Of course not. But regret serves no purpose. You made decisions with the information and maturity you had at that time. You can't judge your past self with your current knowledge. That's not fair, and it's not productive. Instead of regret, learn. Extract the lesson, apply it going forward, and let the guilt go. This is how you grow. This is how you become wiser without becoming bitter. Precept number 7. Never be jealous. In the age of social media, this might be the hardest precept to follow. You scroll through feeds watching everyone's highlight reels while you're living your behind-the-scenes reality. Someone else got the promotion. Someone else has the relationship you want. Someone else seems to have it all figured out, and that jealousy eats at you. But here's what Musashi understood. Jealousy is completely useless. It doesn't hurt the person you're jealous of. It only hurts you. It's drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Plus, what you're jealous of is usually an illusion anyway. You're comparing your messy reality to someone else's carefully curated image. You have no idea what struggles they're actually facing behind closed doors. Instead of jealousy, use other people's success as proof that what you want is possible. Let it inspire you rather than diminish you. Musashi wasn't jealous of other skilled swordsmen. He studied them, learned from them, and then surpassed them. Precept number 8. Never let yourself be saddened by a separation. Everything in life is temporary. Relationships end. People die. Jobs change. Nothing lasts forever. And Musashi is telling you to accept this fundamental truth. When you cling desperately to things that are impermanent, you guarantee your own suffering, because loss is inevitable. Does this mean you shouldn't love people or form connections? Absolutely not. It means love them fully while they're here, but don't let your entire identity and happiness depend on them staying. Be grateful for the time you have rather than devastated when it ends. This is the difference between attachment and appreciation. Attachment says, I need this to be happy. Appreciation says, I'm grateful this exists. Now let's talk about something that most people completely miss about Dokkōdō, something that makes this philosophy even more powerful. Musashi wrote these 21 precepts knowing he was about to die. He was literally staring death in the face, and that gave him absolute clarity about what actually matters in life. Here's the uncomfortable truth we all try to avoid. You're going to die too. So am I. Everyone watching this video. Everyone you love. We all have an expiration date, we just don't know what it is. Most people live as if they're immortal. They put off their dreams. They waste time on things that don't matter. They spend years trying to impress people whose opinions are ultimately irrelevant. They're so afraid of living that they forget they're dying. But when you truly accept your mortality, not in a morbid way, but in a realistic way, everything changes. Suddenly, you stop caring so much about that embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago. You stop worrying about what strangers on the internet think of you. You stop putting off the things you actually want to do. You start living with intention. You start making real choices instead of just drifting. This is what Musashi meant by walking alone. Not physical solitude, but the courage to live according to your own values rather than society's expectations. The strength to stand firm in who you are even when everyone else thinks you're crazy. The freedom to pursue what matters to you even if nobody understands. So what does it actually mean to be unshakable? Let me be clear about what it doesn't mean. Being unshakable doesn't mean you never feel pain. Musashi felt pain. Being unshakable doesn't mean you never feel fear. Musashi felt fear before battles. Being unshakable doesn't mean you're cold or emotionless. Musashi created art. He had disciples he cared about. He was fully human. Being unshakable means you have such a solid foundation in who you are that external circumstances can't destroy you. You can lose everything and still be yourself. You can face criticism and still know your worth. You can be alone and still be at peace. You're not a leaf that blows in whatever direction the wind takes you. You're a mountain that stands firm no matter the storm. Musashi achieved this through a lifetime of facing death, through 60-plus duels where one mistake meant the end, through constant self-examination and growth. But you don't need to fight samurai to develop this strength. You can apply these principles starting right now. Stop seeking external validation. Make one decision today based on what you actually want rather than what others expect. Stop clinging to things. Let go of one possession you're holding on to for no good reason. Stop being controlled by your emotions. The next time you feel angry or afraid, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, is this feeling helping me think clearly? Accept reality. Stop fighting against circumstances you cannot change and focus your energy on what you can actually influence. Think about your mortality. If you only had 1 week left to live, like Musashi did when he wrote Dokkōdō, what would actually matter? What fears would you let go of? What truths would you finally speak? What would you start doing? What would you stop doing? You don't have to wait until you're dying to figure this out. You can make those changes now, because that's what Dokkōdō really is. It's not about preparing to die. It's about finally learning how to truly live. And if you've watched this entire video, if you've stayed with me through this deep dive into ancient samurai philosophy, then congratulations. You've already taken the first step. Because seeking knowledge that challenges you, that pushes you outside your comfort zone, is itself an act of courage. Most people prefer comfortable lies to uncomfortable truths, but not you. You're here, you're learning, you're growing. So here's my final question for you. Now that you know these principles, will you just file them away as interesting information? Or will you have the courage to actually apply them to your life? Will you start walking alone, not in isolation, but in independence? Will you build that unshakable foundation? The choice is yours. It always has been. And that might be the most important lesson of all. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not controlled by others. You have the power to choose your response to everything that happens to you. That's the ultimate freedom Musashi discovered. And it's available to you right now, today, in this moment. The question is, will you take it?